Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha, Kodash. I want to give double honors to my apostles at Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and a sincere Shalom to the elect out there teaching this truth in all honesty and sincerity in these last days. Okay, I'm the brother Yasharan, and this is a exhortation for brothers, about watching their health, because it's been something that I've lately been focused on, and it's been a topic that, a lot of brothers are interested in, man. Okay? And the scriptures say, talk about different spiritual gifts in Corinthians 12. It's diversities of gifts. And one of them is being a healer or a physician. Okay? And you notice some brothers in this ministry, okay, they like to make videos on those types of things. They're kind of like herbalists or real physicians in a way. Well, the interest in that has increased over the years because a lot of us are older. And we're paying for, like the saying goes, we're paying for the sins of our youth. Okay? We're paying for growing up with this S.A.D, this standard American diet. Okay? And one of the main things that I have personally seen, and a lot of other brothers would agree, especially if they know what they're looking for, is that insulin resistance is a huge problem for a majority of the people here in Babylon, man. It is a huge problem. Okay, and a lot of people don't even know it, and that's going to be in this inquiry that I put into ChatGPT. Okay. I wrote, give statistics for insulin resistance and diabetes by race in America. And this especially affects Jake. Okay, but it affects everybody, really. Because this really wasn't an issue, back in the day, so to speak. This is something that is new, like the scriptures talk about, they shall eat defiled bread amongst the Gentiles, man. Our bread is really defiled. Okay? If you look at old photos of people from like the early 1900s, or the 1950s, or the 1960s, or even the 1970s, there's hardly any fat people in public places. And a lot of these public photos, like you look up photos of, busy sidewalks, shopping districts, beaches, hardly anybody's fat. Okay, hardly anybody's fat. And a large part of that is because of the S.A.D, the standard American diet, and these ultra-processed, defiled foods. Okay? And we've become a people that ingest more carbohydrates than we probably ever have before. Okay? It's like I had to get a drink of water. I wrote, give statistics for insulin resistance and diabetes by race in America. And it says, I'll ground this in recent U.S. public health data, and I'll separate diagnosed diabetes, prediabetes, and insulin resistance because they're related but not measured the same way. Here are the clearest U.S. adult stats I found. Diagnosed diabetes by race, ethnicity in U.S. adults, 2021 to 2023. And there you see the rates, right? American Indian, Alaska Native, 15.7%. Black non-Hispanic, 12.2%. Hispanic overall, 11.8%. Asian non-Hispanic, 9.7%. White non-Hispanic, 7.1%. Okay? So, hey, this is Esau Kingdom, right? But our people, you look at our people, they're near the top. If you really look at the percentages, I know it doesn't seem like a lot. But in terms of percentage, it's like a third percent, like 30% more. This is just what was tested, okay? A lot of people, it's going to say that a lot of people have prediabetes, they don't even know it. Okay, it says prediabetes by race, ethnicity. A national Haynes based study found these unadjusted prediabetes rates, and it says black adults, Hispanic adults, white adults, and Asian adults. And you look at the prediabetes rate, and for all races, it's over a third. And for so-called black adults, it's nearly 50%. Okay, it's nearly 50%. That's serious, man. That's why as you age in this kingdom, in this wicked kingdom, okay, you get that little gut on you. And it seems like no matter what you do, it just don't go away. Well, a lot of that is, insulin resistance. Okay? Overall prediabetes burden in America. The CDC's current national report estimates 40 million people in the U.S. had diagnosed or undiagnosed diabetes, right? Undiagnosed diabetes. In 2023, about 12% of the population. It also estimates 115 million. 115 million. That's almost a third of the so-called nation. U.S. adults have prediabetes. This is an issue, man. It's primarily targeted at our people because we've all been there. We've all stood behind fat black women at the store and seen what they put in their shopping cart for their kids, man. It's nothing but cereals and sugary drinks, sodas. Right? All kinds of garbage, fruit snacks, whatever they get. Potato chips, corn chips, all kinds of nastiness, man. And when the children do get any kind of so-called decent food in their diet, it's usually processed, like they'll get it fruit juice, which is garbage. Okay? Okay, it's garbage. The fruit juice you buy at the store is bullshit, man. Alright? If you're not juicing it yourself, it's bullshit. Cold pressed. It's got to be cold pressed. Alright? And even then, I'm not really a big fan of juicing fruit like that. Okay? But that's just me. Because a lot of times the fruits that you put in there because you want the smoothie or whatever you're drinking to be sweet, well, it's more sugar, man. It's going to spike your blood sugar. Right? That's the problem with juicing, is that it does spike your blood sugar. Okay? But hey, that's why, a lot of brothers have come around to, like keto-based and carnivore-based diets, man. Or a so-called natural diet, man, an elimination diet, right? Even if you're not going to go with the carnivore route, at least practice some kind of elimination diet and let that elimination be these processed foods, man. And just from that, you'll notice a direct, or a great benefit to your health, man. I'm saying this from somebody who's completely changed their health around. Okay? And And that's one of the things that I like to see when brothers are, taking care of themselves, eating right, exercising, right? And not just doing it, but doing it with wisdom, okay? Because that's really the important thing is with wisdom, man, Because just because something's healthy doesn't mean that you could eat it in abundance. Like so, a lot of these healthier foods, like look at grapes and bananas, right? They're obviously not bad for you, but they kind of are sugar bombs, man. Just like Dr. Gundry calls them, they kind of are sugar bombs. Okay? And if your problem is insulin resistance, man, you got to stay away from sugar bombs at all costs, even if it may come from nature. Okay? All right, so let's get a couple scriptures, and then we'll close it up, because we are eating defiled bread, man. So even the healthy stuff has been tainted in a way, like I just mentioned, grapes and bananas. A lot of these fruits that we enjoy now, the good stuff, nature's candy, is cultivated to have extra sugar in it. Okay? Extra sugar and less nutrients, man. Your citrus fruits like your lemons and your oranges and your limes, they have more sugar now and less of the good stuff. Okay? Primarily the seeds. Right? A lot of fruits are cultivated so that they have more sugar. Okay? So you gotta keep it in check, man. A way to attack insulin resistance is, if you are gonna have a good amount of carbohydrates in a meal, have it around your workouts, your exercise regime. Because that's really what carbohydrates are for. They're for glucose, and what uses a lot of glucose? Lifting weights, right? Resistance training. Okay? When you lift moderately heavy weights, or even light weights to an extent, or heavy weights for that matter, right? It's considered glycolytic, right? It's glycolytic activity. It uses glucose, okay? And when you're draining all that glucose out of your muscles, okay, and then you're replenishing them, you're giving your mitochondria practice. Okay, you're getting your body. Your body is getting more efficient at metabolizing carbohydrate energy, man. Because it's true. I've seen it in a few people. Okay, they get their blood sugar under control, and they keep a majority of their carbohydrates around their weight training or whatever, resistance training. Okay, and that makes their body more efficient at it. And when they start introducing more carbohydrates into their, or sugar, or starch or whatever, into the diet, they could tolerate it better because they got better insulin sensitivity. Okay, because the opposite of insulin resistance is insulin sensitivity. You want insulin sensitivity. Okay, because it gives your body the practice of utilizing the insulin and storing the energy, right? Because that's what insulin is. It's a storage hormone. Okay? So you want to keep your carbohydrates around your exercise times, okay? Primarily weight training. Now let's get this in Sirach. I ranted a little bit, but Lord willing, you brothers learn something from that little speech right there, man. That's what this is about. It's about learning. It's about edification. Okay? And when you get your blood sugar under control, one of the things that you'll notice is your mind is better, man. You get less energy crashes. Okay? You get less brain farts. You can focus a little better. Okay? It helps with the anxiety as well, man. You know? Or even not necessarily anxiety, but, jitteriness. If you have what do they call it? ADHD or whatever, it helps with that. Your attention span, your focus. But this is Ciroc 30 and 15. Let's get into it. Health and good estate of body are above all gold. Okay? Because I've been there, man. I've had serious health issues in the past, and there's not when you're going through a serious health issue, man. There's really nothing more that you want besides salvation, of course. Then there's nothing more that you want than to get healthy, man. I mean, it affects every aspect of what you do. Okay, it says health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinity wealth. Okay, because having health is wisdom, really, when everything in your body is working properly. Okay, it allows you to utilize wisdom, man. To utilize wisdom because it's in a strong state. You're thinking clearly. Your judgment's not all thrown off. You're not dealing with well, hey, that's a huge issue. A lot of these foods are addictive, man. Addiction will screw your judgment up, man. Okay? So being unhealthy will screw your judgment up, man. And a strong body above infinity wealth, is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart. Okay? So when you're healthy, you feel good. Right? Like right now, I feel great that I'm 43 and, putting up the same weights and conditioning that I was when I was in my early 20s. And it's all because Yahweh Shemiah Shai led me down the right path, man. And said, you got to get away from that S.A.D. and you got to fix these things and take the right herbs. If I was in the world, man, I'd probably be 350 pounds. Or dead, Because the scriptures say, remember ye the old paths, man. The old paths is the ancient ways. All right? That's how it's supposed to be. Hey, man, me and the brothers, we went to some Elamite or East Indian store. But they had all kinds of herbs and supplements, man. It was like a treasure in the middle of the fucking hood. Like, what the where's this place come from? We know that guy can't be doing well financially being where he is, man. Ain't no black women over there or even black men over there worried about their health, man. If it was a McDonald's though, his store would be packed. If he was selling cheeseburgers or fucking fried chicken and fucking fried chicken and fucking fried chicken wings, man. That's well, hey, or buffalo wings like they say in the rest of the nation or whatever of Babylon. But yeah, man, if they had fucking pizza there, it'd be place would be booming. But the guy can't even get customers. In fact, just to share the story, he told us while we were there, because we went in there after we went. Me and some brothers, well, actually, pretty much the whole camp, went there after camp, and we got some dinner, and then we went over there, and they had all kinds of stuff, man. They had Shilajit and Tonkat Ali and Moringa and they had everything, man. It was a dragon's tail, and they had Shilajit. They had actual honeycombs there. They were selling straight up honeycombs there. And this guy said that he put up a sign that talked about all the benefits of the supplements that he's selling, and Esau, the police, made him take it down. Can you believe that? They made him take it down. It was like kind of like medical misinformation. These fucking devils, man. That's why we gotta get out of here. All right, that's why we gotta get out of here, man. Because when you try to do good in this kingdom, this wicked ass kingdom, you get punished for it, man. And that man suffered greatly financially. Okay? Because of that shit. Here it is. You could drive down the fucking street and see a giant sign with a cheeseburger with all kinds of swine on it, some baconalia or baconator shit. But that man can't leave a sign on his own property. All right, talking about herbs. Fucking, I hate this place, man. This is why this is not our place of rest, is polluted, and it's going to destroy us if we don't get the fuck out of here, man. Okay? Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness. Okay? Especially continually being sick. Continually being sick in this place, whew, it's like vexation from all different angles, man. Because we already deal with the vexation of our spirit in this wicked ass kingdom, vexed with the filthy conversation of the righteous and the ways of this wicked kingdom, this sinful kingdom. All right, you got to deal with the physical side when you're continually fucking sick. Okay? I mean, damn, man. This is why we need salvation. And you got Israelites that want to do all these stupid gimmicks and act like we're going to be here forever and nation build. All right. Yeah, we need to get up out of here, man. We need to get up out of here. We need to be transformed, man. Oh, slack you. We need to be transformed, man, and get out of these bodies, man. We need a new body. We need new bodies, man. That's what we really need at the end of the day. Okay, but yeah, just something for you brothers, lift weights. Obviously, don't go crazy, recover and all that. Okay? Keep your carbohydrates around your meal times. All right? Or around your exercise regime. Another thing is fasted walking. Okay? It doesn't have to be 16 or 18 hour fast. 12-hour fast is actually supposedly when your insulin is the most stable. Your insulin levels are the most stable. So, about 12 hours after you last ate, you would go for a walk. That's shown to help greatly with visceral fat and keeping your blood sugar under control. Little things like adding fiber to meals. Okay? Having gaps between your meals, in terms of time, so that you're not constantly shooting off insulin. Okay? Not that insulin is necessarily a bad thing. It does have a lot of benefits. But you don't constantly want these insulin spikes. Okay? So keeping your overall carbohydrates in check. The kinds that you're eating, obviously processed foods are going to hit the bloodstream quicker, and you're going to get a blood sugar spike, which is, going to create an insulin spike, right? So Yes, getting your insulin under control, your insulin levels under control, is one of the first steps to fighting insulin resistance, okay, or blood sugar issues, or prediabetes, okay. Not eating, you just got to deal with you had your fun when you were young, man. It's time to cut out all the bullshit as far as your health. Okay, I'm talking to you brothers that we've been watching over the years in the different states and so on and so forth. We can't enjoy all those, especially liquid sugars, man. Any kind of sugar that's in liquid form instantly spikes your blood sugar. Okay, so you gotta stay away from that. Apple cider vinegar is great to take, especially at night before you go to sleep. You'll wake up with a lot lower fasted glucose level, and it'll improve your insulin sensitivity overall. And get a good quality apple cider vinegar. All right, the stuff with the mother in it. I get Lucy's, I believe it is. And just keep your overall carbohydrates in check, man. Really, when you track them, you realize that you're eating a lot more than you should. Okay. I mean, so when I wasn't keeping track of my carbohydrate levels, and I was like estimating them when I was eating the S.A.D, a lot of us are really eating more sugar than a elite level athlete may need. Okay, for their training, and most of us don't do a lot of physical things that we used to do. Okay, so you just got to keep the numbers down. A general rule for me is keep your high carbohydrates under 1 gram per pound of body weight that you have. And if you're not exercising, it's got to get even lower than that. Okay? Or you could go on some kind of ketogenic diet or carnivore-based diet. But the main thing is getting rid of the processed foods. Make that first improvement there. Okay? That's where you make the first big improvement. And then it's getting rid of the sugary drinks and just watching the overall sugar content, right? And practicing the timing, keeping most of it around your exercise. Okay? And then focus on, and once you do that, you pretty much have the total number under control. But with that, yeah, we need to be transformed. All right? Just like it says. Oops. It's in this chapter. Was it 37? Slack it. Yeah, we do have earthly bodies right now, We need those heavenly bodies. We need to be transformed. All right. 1 Corinthians 15:51. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. Okay? In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. So no more of this bullshit, man. No more of this weak flesh, We won't have to glory in our infirmities anymore. We ain't even going to have infirmities when we get changed. Okay? At the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Okay? We'll be translated from one to another, man. All right? So with that, Lord willing, y'all are edified. Till next time. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh. And Lord willing, man, one of y'all brother, somebody who sees this, makes some kind of change, for their own improvement, because that's really what these exhortation videos do. They plant a seed, okay, and one brother may get the message, improve his health, and then other brothers around him may see may see that and be encouraged. Iron sharpeneth iron, not just in terms of knowledge, but in exhortation. Okay, we really rub off on one another at times, man. Okay, and we especially need to be doing this as we close up here in Babylon, man, because this place, oof, it's just gonna be a matter of time before they really start locking this society down, man. We aren't even going to be able to have access to a lot of these quality herbs, man. Okay? Especially when they start changing the internet drastically with censorship and so on and so forth. But with that, Lord willing, y'all are edified. Till next time, shalom.